Welcome into the Rob Bro Show. I am Rob Bro. He's Carson Robinson. We are the hosts. You are the co-host. You can co-host today by commenting on the starting line, chat line. Right over there. It's on the side. I looked it up. Look it over there. On the other side.
That's there we point.
It's not on me. It's over there. You got to mirror your hands. See, we're pointing the wrong way in real life. But it's going over there. Your comments, just like Roy's already said, let's go with the proper pronunciation.
I'm so glad Roy spells that right every time. Makes me happy every day.
Otherwise, we'll get into the show. Josh Jung is back. We'll talk about Trevon Diggs. We'll talk about the Texas Tech Red Raiders make a couple of Big 12 picks and picks across the country. Let's jump right into it. Josh Jung is back at a home run night before last. They were off last night. But kind of an explosion of offense with Josh Jung and Mitch Garver and Jonah Heim. Can we see that consistently the rest of the season? And how thankful are you that Josh Jung is back in the lineup? Not just as a Texas Tech fan, but as a Texas Rangers fan.
Yeah, it's a Texas Rangers fan. Even just more of a baseball fan. You love seeing a guy that should have been the rookie of the year had he not gotten injured, back in a lineup and performing it the way that he was before he went down with said injury. So, and for the Rangers, I mean, getting Josh Jung, we talked about it. If you can get Josh Jung back by the end of the season and give yourself a chance in the division, like you'll take that. If you're still within striking distance or a game or two above the Astros and Mariners in the division, that'd be great. Now you're a half game back going into the weekend against the Mariners. Huge weekend, and it's so awesome to have Josh Jung back in the lineup. It's awesome to have Jonah Heim and Adolis Garcia back in the lineup as well. And I know Jonah Heim's been in it for a little while, but Adolis was on the IL for a little while. And, you know, it's nice to be healthy at the right time, and you've got to start playing your best baseball here to end the year.
Yeah, and you got to start throwing the ball over the plate in the later innings.
That would be nice.
Not down the pipe.
Yeah, you're not going to score 11 runs every single game like you did the other day. So 15, yeah, that's right.
All right, so the wild card picture, the Blue Jays 85-68, the Astros 85-68, the Mariners 84-68, the Rangers 84-68. The Twins, who are going to get a free pass, 81-72. That's
so bad. So bad.
But it looks like there's space enough. You get 3 wild cards, yes?
Yeah.
So the Rays have a wild card at 94-60. And then the Rangers, Mariners, and Blue Jays with the AL West teams a half game back in the mix for that final spot. The Mariners with 11 games, 10 games against the AL West remaining because they play 7 against the Astros.
Yeah, they play. Yeah, they play. Yeah. Yeah, they had the Rangers and Astros their final 3 series of the season. Yeah,
Rangers, Astros, Rangers.
Yeah, sucks for the Mariners.
Yeah, but you're gonna.
But it's also good for them too.
You have a lot of intrigue with the Rangers because whoever wins those 7 games is going to win the wild card.
Yeah, that's true. It's a very good point. And mixed in there, the Rangers have the Angels. And the Angels are just a dumpster fire right now, even though they did. They they got walked off or got beat by the Rays yesterday. And then the Orioles got beat by the Guardians. So the Rays are a game and a half out of the AL East. And so even both of those teams are already in the playoffs, but it'd be huge for the Rays if they could come back and they're bringing up their big stud. Camarillo is coming up or whatever his name
for a number 1 seed.
Yeah. Yeah. So dude hit like 340 in the minors this year with 30 plus home runs. Wow. Their number 1 prospect. Yeah.
Alan Corbin says lock of the week. Josh Jung will hit home runs, which wins Texas the AL West. Josh Jung will hit the home run, which wins Texas the AL West.
Attaboy. Reading's hard.
The reading is hard. Reading is very hard. I had to get real close on that one. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that lock of the week there, Alan. I hope it happens.
I think it's the lock of next week, but I'm here for it.
Fair.
Yeah. Or the week after. We're a couple of weeks out from that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Unless he hits a home run so powerful today, everyone just quits.
Josh Jung is back. We might as well phone it in.
500 yards.
You know, technically the Rangers haven't had the division lead since Josh Jung was last in the lineup.
True. They tied it up.
Yeah.
Right before he came back, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, big game today to see if that can happen. Big games, I should say.
Yeah.
And that was so frustrating losing to the freaking Astros so much this year. Man.
Oh.
All right, Seattle, Texas tonight. Any thoughts? Bryce Miller versus Dane Dunning. Righty versus righty. Bryce Miller 8-5, 3.88 ERA. Dane Dunning 10-6, 3.78 ERA. Pretty similar. Whips. Pretty similar strikeout rates. Dane Dunning's walked more, but I think he's pitched more innings.
Dane Dunning's thrown like almost 30 more innings than yeah.
So thoughts on the game tonight, and then we'll move on to some NFL football.
You need to have Dane Dunning's the best version of Dane Dunning that you've had at points this year. Dane Dunning has been your top starter. You know, whenever, especially after Uvalde went out, he had a couple starts there after Uvalde went down that he looked like a stud. He looked like he was going to be the guy that kind of held everything together for a little bit. And then he had a couple bad starts mixed in there. He's one of those dudes who can be very, very, very good. And he's one of those guys who can be really bad too on some nights when he's not throwing strikes. So you need Dane Dunning to come out, start with strike one, every single batter. And this Mariners lineup is way too good to give him free passes. And then, you know, Julio Rodriguez comes up and hits an opposite field home run and you're down 3. So you've got to be able to throw strikes, you know, get ground ball double plays off the sinker that he throws. And Dane Dunning needs to be the best version of himself tonight. You need a win. Got to get a win to start this series off.
The rest of the series is Montgomery and then Uvalde versus Gilbert and Wu.
You love the way this series sets up pitching-wise for the Rangers. I mean, you really do. As long as you get the guys that are the last name on the back of the jersey and not the bullpen guys.
Yeah. Fridays are for Go Big Locks, gentlemen. BYU money line, Tech covers, Baylor covers. Baylor covering is the closest. Well, that's a 15-point line. I think that's pretty safe, even though Texas looks pretty good.
Baylor ain't that good, bro.
Tech covering 6.5. I know, but it's a Big 12 game. BYU money line. That's a 9-point dog on the road in Kansas.
Yeah, give me BYU for sure.
Money line?
Yeah. Give me the Cougs. I told you they'd win last week.
They beat Arkansas.
Yeah, at Arkansas.
They beat Arkansas. Can they beat Kansas?
Sure can.
All right, let's talk a little NFL football. I almost did it again. Trevon Diggs tearing his ACL in the worst way possible because it's in practice on a one-on-one drill. Practice? We're talking about practice?
Practice.
Not a game. It's bad for the defense. But as far as stars go, a ball hawk corner, like if you had to lose somebody of the top 3 players on the defense, Trevon Diggs, as big of a loss as it is, and it's a big loss, I think this defense can still be great without Trevon Diggs. Now, you're going to miss the ball hawking. You're going to miss a couple of interceptions here. But that pass rush is just so important to this defense. You have to keep that pass rush healthy. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal for Trevon Diggs to go down. It's a big deal, but I don't think it's a huge deal. What are your thoughts on Trevon Diggs? Because some would say he's not a lockdown corner. He's just a ball hawk. He gives up a lot of plays.
Yeah.
Also takes back a lot of plays.
Yeah, that's the thing you get with Trevon Diggs is in the NFL, turnovers are so hard to come by. You've got to have a dude like that, especially on the back end of your defense. That serves a huge purpose as a guy like that, a ball hawking corner. Like you said, I mean, he's not really He's not a Sauce Gardner type guy who's going to lock people down and they're not going to throw towards him because he's just locking dudes down. Trevon Diggs sometimes lets a guy get open so he can see if he can go pick a ball off. Like he wants them to throw it to his side.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to lock you down and limit your yards. He wants to. Yeah, he wants to eventually step in front of a ball one time and go with a pick six. That's what Trevon Diggs does, which I think for the Cowboys defense is huge. Especially on the back end. And the Cowboys defense, you get enough pass rush, especially this year. I think your pass rush with Micah Parsons and all those guys is phenomenal.
Really,
and with a ball hawk on the back end, that makes a quarterback throw it a little bit early. Then that's big time for Trevon Diggs. Now, that's not to say that Trevon Diggs going down is not going to get turnovers caused by this defense, because I think they're still pretty good in the secondary without Trevon Diggs. They're not, obviously, he's one of the top corners in the NFL just because of his ability to go pick a ball off and his athleticism and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's a big loss, but is it going to tank this defense? No, it's not. The Cowboys have enough. I mean, you're talking about NFL talent on the back end. They've still got some dudes in the back end of that defense that can go get it. And like I said, the pass rush is where you make your bread, where you make your money at in the NFL. And if you can do that, you're still going to cause turnovers on the back end. And I don't think that's going away. Like you said, if you had to choose,
especially if you're the Cowboys,
yeah, especially if you're the Cowboys, you had to choose your top three defenders to go down, and it would be probably Trevon Diggs would be the one you would choose, because you're definitely not choosing Micah Parsons or I don't know who would your other
anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I it's a big loss, but it's not going to. I don't think that it. Yeah, I don't think it'll affect the defense in they're not going to give up a tremendous amount of more yards or catches or anything else because of the loss of Trevon Diggs. They might get 5 or 6 less interceptions.
Yeah,
that's it, which is big if you think about it.
And who knows if Deron Bland doesn't get those same interceptions because of the pass rush?
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
Because of the pass rush. All right. I always forget how to get ESPN's lines on the screen. Oh, here it is. Go to scores.
I got them all if you need them.
I got them. Let's do it. Let's do Texas Tech last. Let's go numerically here. All right. 11 a.m. on Fox. Oklahoma and Cincinnati. Cincinnati's 2-1. But that Pitt win looks a little more sus now, as the kids would say. This line settling at 14. I think it's 15 in some places, 14.5 in a couple of books. Oklahoma, Cincinnati, plus 14. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Oklahoma's going to beat them by 14, at least.
Yeah.
At Nippert. I know it's at Nippert, but it's 11 a.m.
Yeah, who cares where it is?
Oklahoma plays their biggest game of the season every year at 11 a.m., so it's not like you're going to catch them snoozing at 11 a.m. Yeah, Oklahoma's a lot better than Cincinnati.
I think Oklahoma's ahead of schedule, actually. I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, you think Venables is year 2 is better than what people thought he would be?
I think the team is. I don't know about Venables, but I think the team is better.
And a lot of that has to do with the transfer portal, of what they did in the transfer portal. And you got to give him credit. Emmett Jones going to Oklahoma, that's a smart move by Brent Venables.
I don't know how
signing him.
Yeah.
He's one of the top recruiters in the country. That helps too, especially in the transfer portal.
I think anybody can recruit to Oklahoma, but
yeah, you should be able to. But Venables, I mean, the roster wasn't great last year, but
they had a bunch of turnover when Lincoln Riley left.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, you lose Caleb Williams, you lose guys like that.
Yeah,
I mean, if you would have had Caleb Williams last year,
there's a bunch of guys that left.
Yeah, Marvin Mims leaves. Yeah, you're probably pretty good last year with Caleb Williams.
Mims might have stayed.
Mims might have. Yeah, it's hard to remember. Yeah, and
a bunch of those receivers left though.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just trying not to give him too much credit. I know you're still an Emmett Jones guy, but
I don't like that he left.
SMU TCU minus 6.5, which is a giant line to me in this game. They're both 2-1, 11 a.m. Fox Sports 1 in Fort Worth.
Man, this is so hard for me to root for either of these teams. I don't like either. But since Sonny Dykes is the head coach at TCU, I'll probably take TCU just because of that. But I would never put anything close to money on this game. It's always a toss-up in this SMU TCU game, and this year especially.
Yeah.
So
I think so too, but I'm also leaning TCU.
Yeah, just because it's at TCU, but it doesn't really matter that it's at TCU because it's not like SMU's traveling a long distance.
I mean, I think
play
TCU
you.
win by a touchdown.
Yeah. If Chandler Morris doesn't throw 2 picks.
They played close with Oklahoma. Oklahoma pulled away at the end. They put it on Louisiana Tech, but I'm afraid Louisiana Tech is really bad.
I think Preston Stone's the better quarterback than Chandler Morris.
Yeah.
I think he's a better quarterback than Morris. So I think SMU wins the quarterback battle in that regard. But again, is SMU's defense good enough to stop TCU? I don't know, because SMU's defense is not great.
I think this is a close game, and TCU pulls away at the very end. But I think it'll be close for a large portion of it.
If I were to put anything down in this game, I would take SMU to cover the 6.5.
You just
I think they
TCU to win.
Yeah, but SMU to cover. Yeah, they're not going to win, but TCU wins by a field goal or something late.
Gotcha. All right, BYU Kansas. You already mentioned this one. Kansas minus 9.5, but you're taking BYU money line.
Oh yeah, give me the Cougs.
Both teams 3-0. This is in Kansas. So BYU going to go on the road twice in a row and prove their dominance. This is the opening Big 12 game for BYU.
Hey man, they're road warriors. They've been going and playing tough road games the last 3 or 4 years that Kalani Sitake has been there, and they've played pretty well in some road games. I mean, last year they went to Baylor, or Baylor went to them a couple of years ago, and they beat Baylor, or performed well at Baylor when Baylor was pretty good and won the Big 12 that year. Yeah, I like BYU, man. I just like BYU. I don't think that going on the road bothers them at all. Being an independent in the last few years, they've gone in plenty of hostile environments and done really well. So, yeah, give me the Cougs. And I'm not high on the Kansas train. I'm just not.
Kansas defense sucks, but I don't know that BYU's offense is very good. A couple of comments to catch up.
Ask Arkansas.
On the starting line chat line, that was the first time they looked good. Only losers think they can't recruit and compete at OU. That's from Alan. Martin says TCU is going to crush SMU. I hope so.
For the Big 12's sake, I hope so, yeah.
He's a TCU guy, so you got to let him have it.
For the Big 12's sake, I hope TCU just ruins SMU's day.
I'll take BYU to cover, but I don't know about beating Kansas.
Alan's right. BYU does love hitting the road for 2 years at a time. That's true. I felt like they didn't play at home at all last year and the year before.
Well, that was a Mormon joke.
Yeah, well, I get that. But,
sabbatical.
But I really feel like they never played at home last year or the year before that.
In the COVID season, I don't think they did.
Probably true because, well, actually, no, Utah was one of the places you could play the most.
All right, Oklahoma State, Iowa State.
But
minus 3.5, the total 35.5. Would you touch this game, and who are you picking?
No, because both of them are so bad that it's hard to tell like who's gonna be the less worse team, right? Like who's gonna figure out a way not to turn the ball over and finally score and win a football game? Like that's what this one comes down to, is who makes the less amount of mistakes. And does Mike Gundy care enough to actually win a football game? I don't know. It isn't Ames. You can never count out the Cyclones in Ames. If I were to pick, I'd take the Cyclones at the 3.5. If you held a gun to my head and said I had to pick one. Oklahoma State sucks.
I would take the under.
Definitely the under for sure.
I'll take
what is
35?
Yeah, give me the under.
Another 37.5 total. Sam Houston, Houston. This is a 12-point line in Houston's favor.
Yeah, Houston's going to win. I don't think Sam Houston is as good as their FCS championship days. Sam
Win
Houston.
or cover?
Mm.
We're picking against the spread.
Dana needs to cover, so go Dana. Cover the spread, Dana.
Okay.
I'll just send some good juju their way for this one.
I'll take Sam Houston just for the jokes. Let's see. Texas, Baylor, 14.5 here. I think it's minus 15 in real life. Over, under, total 49. In Waco on ABC.
Give me the Longhorns. Baylor is not good.
Yeah.
Texas might wipe the floor with them in this one, sadly.
Number 3, Texas.
Yeah.
The only thing is this is a spot.
You think this is the spot? You think that's this game?
This is a spot in this.
Yeah.
Of course, next week Kansas predates Oklahoma by a week. So that could be a spot too, but
very easily could.
And we've seen Kansas do it.
Kansas is a lot better than Baylor. Baylor's just not good.
Baylor stinks.
They don't have an offensive line. I mean, Sawyer Robertson, it was getting just hounded all last week.
Yeah.
So, and Utah, everybody's like, man, if they play like they did against Utah, they might have a chance. But Utah wasn't very good either. They don't have their starting quarterback. They have like 3 or 4 offensive linemen out. Without Cam Rising at quarterback, Utah's not very good. Don't read anything into the Utah game that Baylor almost beat Utah in.
That was an ugly game, man.
It was disgusting to watch.
UCF Kansas State, the nightcap. UCF 3-0, debuting against Kansas State in the Big 12. Will Howard injured. Kansas State still favored minus 3.5. Is he injured or hurt? We don't know. Total 52.
See, this is the hard part about college football betting. If you're that guy, is Will Howard. If Will Howard's playing, then I feel okay about Kansas State in the cover of the 3.5. If Will Howard's not playing, and I know what his injury is, then probably not going to feel okay with that. And I feel like UCF has a chance on the road at Kansas State. So that's a big difference for me as the quarterback position for Kansas State. But again, it's Kansas State. Ema at home is tough in Manhattan. And does UCF know how to compete on the road in the Big 12? Like, we haven't seen what a team like a UCF can do against this kind of talent on a year-to-year basis. So I like Kansas State in this one still at the 3.5, but I think it's not something that I would just be ready to throw some cash at.
Yeah, I would stay away from this game. I don't know what they're going to do without Will Howard. Will Howard hasn't been great this year. He didn't look good against Missouri, but he was also hobbled and couldn't walk for the second half. They have the Avery Johnson kid, but it's like they don't want him to throw the ball. He just runs. So I don't know what they'll do. If Avery Johnson is the quarterback, I kind of want to say Baron Morton style, just give me Kansas State by 10, because I really like that kid.
Yeah.
He is electric, but I don't know if Colin Klein will let him off the hook.
Yeah, let him run free, be himself.
Yeah, let him go, baby.
Because this is an offense where they don't like a quarterback to do that.
Yeah, but he's so good at it.
I agree.
All right, that brings us to Texas Tech, West Virginia. Texas Tech -6. Total 55.
-6 on the road at West Virginia. That just basically tells you that the either the money is going to Texas Tech a ton, or the guys who lay the spreads in Vegas just think West Virginia stinks, which means Pitt stinks even worse, which I completely agree with all of that. And man, I sure hope Texas Tech covers. Morgantown. You know what? I don't really care if they cover or not. If they win by a half of a point, don't care. Who cares?
Win,
They
baby.
win by half of a point. Who cares? Okay, my Texas Tech hat, my fan hat is off. And now if I'm really going to it, I think Texas Tech is a 6-point better team or better than West Virginia. West Virginia's just not that good.
Yeah.
Especially without their number one quarterback if he doesn't play.
Is Tech good?
Tech's good. They're not great. They're above average. West Virginia is below average in my mind. And
They might be
then
average. Tech might be average.
a little bit above average.
I hope so.
A little bit above.
I hope so.
But what I've seen from West Virginia, especially without Green, Garrett Green playing quarterback, I don't think West Virginia is as good as they can be. So, yeah, give me the Red Raiders at 6, and that's a little bit of me being a homer, and that's a little bit of me just being a college football fan and knowing what I've seen West Virginia do the last 3 games.
I'll take West Virginia to cover. I think this is going to be an ugly, close, disgusting game.
Well, and they say there could be some weather that moves in the second half too. So there's like a 50% chance of rain, all of those things. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what Texas Tech team shows up. If it's a team that plays well in the first quarter, craps the bed in the second, and then can't figure out what they're doing in the second half, really, then West Virginia's got a chance in Morgantown for sure.
All right, a couple of ranked games. I'm going to speed through them. I just want your picks. Colorado, Oregon minus 21.
Yeah, man, this is tough because it's at Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Dan Lanning not shying away from the making it personal.
No, he's not.
I think he's just doing it on purpose. He wants Dion to be upset.
Oh,
I think and you could tell he was kind of had a smirk on his face with the comments that he said. I mean, what have they done for the Pac-12 in the last 5 years?
Of course, that was like a month ago.
Yeah. Still, he gone and made it.
Yeah.
Personal. But yeah, I think Oregon's a far better team.
Yeah, but 21?
21's tough. That's where I have a hard time. I don't think Colorado gets blown out by 21. No. So give me Colorado, but they don't win.
Another ranked game, UCLA, Utah, minus 6.
Is Cam Rising back? Because if Cam Rising's not back, UCLA's about to beat them with their true freshman quarterback.
Yeah, I'll take UCLA as well. Ole Miss, Alabama minus 6.5.
Bama, but if Bama doesn't win this game, people are going to say Nick Saban's too old and he needs to go.
Washed.
That's what I mean. People are going to call into the Paul Feinbaum show this week if Alabama loses.
They're already.
Well, yeah, I know that's going to be even worse.
Ohio State, Notre Dame, game of the week on ESPN, except it's on NBC. Ohio State, Notre Dame. Ohio State minus 3 on the road.
I don't know about this one because I don't like McCord. I think McCord is not very good at the quarterback position for Ohio State, especially with the quarterbacks that you've had in the past few years. Like, this is the best you could have at Ohio State. I don't think McCord's great. Sam Hartman, I like. And so give me the Golden Domers.
Hell yeah. Give me the Golden Domers. Sammy Hartman, Heisman, Sammy Heisman.
I don't think he's giving the Heisman, but yeah.
1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. He's on pace, baby.
They've played Navy and other teams that are terrible.
Hey, let's see him beat the number 6 team in the country. See what happens. Iowa ranked, Penn State ranked, 14.5. Penn State is the line.
They've played Navy, Tennessee State, North Carolina State, and Central Michigan.
We've moved on.
I'm just saying.
And they've hammered.
Okay. Yeah. All right. What was the next one?
Iowa, Penn State minus 14.
Give me the James Franklin crew. Iowa's not good. They're not number 24 in the country good. I think Penn State covers the 14.5 at home in Happy Valley. I think Penn State's pretty solid, actually.
Michael says, Rob, you and Clinton did a great job last night calling the Coronado game. I enjoyed listening to y'all. Thank you. You can listen to me and my dad today at 4 o'clock on KKAM Talk 103.9 News Money Sports, I believe. Lubbock High. It's like I never left, huh?
It's like you never
Lubbock
left.
High. Lubbock High and Andrews. I don't know if the game will be as good, but
A team in black and gold will win tonight.
yes,
This afternoon at Lowry Field.
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
Big win, good win for the Mustangs last night of Coronado, though. Good
Yeah,
win.
that was a good
On the road at Caprock. That's a good win, especially heading into district play.
And Clint does a good job.
Yeah. Clint hopes Kansas wins against BYU this week.
They've got fancy equipment and everything, too.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got.
You want to talk?
Yeah,
I was going to say we need to give a shout out to Tech Soccer.
The walk-off win against the Longhorns last night. That
on
was
the road.
Beautiful in Austin.
It's always fun to win in Austin. I don't care what sport it is.
Yeah.
You can win in Austin. Aces in my book. And Tom Stone's got one of his best clubs on the pitch this year that and you know me, I've become a soccer aficionado in the last few months after you and I
one PA appearance.
Yeah, after you and I rocked the Lubbock Matadors playoffs, even though I think we were bad luck, or I was bad luck. But anyways,
not we.
You had been to a few games, but yeah, that's a great win for Tom Stone's club. Love that win last night. I was actually watching that match last night while flipping back and forth between Central Coastal Carolina and Georgia State, who was a good game as well.
Last night. Estacado lost, but that seemed like a really good game until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was one of those where you knew Estacado and Canyon West Plains was going to be good, and it lived up to the billing, and then Estacado just kind of fell apart in the fourth a little bit. But
yeah, they had a uncovered kick
that
they got, like a long onside, scoring a couple of plays, and that kind of broke the game wide open.
Yeah.
Shout out Randy Rosetta, who tweeted through the game. That's how I know that. Sup, West Texas. Kansas over BYU tomorrow in front of a sellout in Lawrence. What a way to start the Big 12 season.
It's not a bad pick. For Kansas' sake, for Lance Leipold's team, this game could go a long way. As a win, it gives you a bunch of momentum going to play the Longhorns the next week, right? If you lose, you're very easily staring at 0-2 in conference play.
Let me ask you a philosophical question.
Okay.
Is it better for the Big 12 teams that have been here to beat the newcomers and to kind of beat the brakes off of them this year?
I mean, it's kind of like the new kid coming to school. You know, you don't want him taking over your starting job, so you just kind of put his nose in the dirt a little bit every chance you get. Nobody likes the new kid.
Does it make the Big 12 look worse if it's UCF and Texas in the Big 12 championship?
No, because I think UCF is in a place where you should be able to recruit really well at the highest level. And they're well coached. I mean, Gus Malzahn's one of the best. He's won a national championship. Gus Malzahn has done it all, and he's a good head football coach. So I don't think UCF is a team that, and they're supposed to be pretty salty this year too. So I don't think you'd be upset. I would be more upset if it was Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game this year, and they're on their way out, and then they have those bragging rights of, oh yeah, nobody else could beat us in our last year in the Big 12. Look how good we are. See ya, peace. We're going to the SEC. Like, I don't want that to happen. I'd rather it be, if you had to ask me if it was Texas and OU or UCF and BYU for whatever it's worth in the Big 12 championship, give me UCF and BYU over Texas and Oklahoma. Give me the new blood over the old.
Sure.
Kick Texas and Oklahoma out the conference and let the two new guys have it out in Arlington.
If you had to pick a Big 12 championship today, who would it be?
Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas is good. Let's not beat around the bush. I mean, they're really good. They're talented at every single position. Their offensive line is really good. Defensively, they're stout on the front side and the back side. They got one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the conference. In Quinn Ewers.
Come on.
Who else is better right now?
Well, you have some bad quarterbacks in the Big 12, but that doesn't mean you can hype up Quinn Ewers.
Well, I'm just saying in the Big 12 conference, he's probably the best.
He's not been good.
The defense has been good, and the other offensive weapons.
Oh, yeah. He's got weapons. He's got weapons.
All over the place.
Xavier Worthy is the best wide receiver in the Big 12 by far.
Xavier Worthy might be – you think he's the best wide receiver in the country?
He could be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Biletnikoff good. Yeah.
A couple of those.
Yeah, he's up there. He's up there with Marvin Harrison Jr. in my mind, of being the top tier wide receivers.
And he almost came to Texas Tech last year. Can you believe it?
Dadgummit.
If you believe the smoke. All right. That was it. That was the Diversified Lenders studio show today. And then we have the starting line chat line. KU fan says, if KU beats BYU, can you admit the Jayhawks at least have a chance to beat OU? Well, it would be Texas next.
Yeah, I think the Jayhawks have a chance to beat anybody.
I think they have a chance to beat OU. They're Cliff Kingsbury, Texas Tech.
Yeah, and
Kansas
got
an incredible offense, and the defense is suspect.
Even Kansas, at their worst, had a chance to beat everybody. I mean, we saw it happen a few times. They beat Texas a few years. Of course, those were not Texas' great years, but they beat Oklahoma one year.
They never beat Oklahoma. They beat TCU and they beat
TCU. Yeah, TCU and Texas. That's right. Yeah.
And
but
Tech.
Anyway, and Tech. Tech doesn't count as a good team. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, I think Kansas is good enough to be at the top of the conference, but they're also meddling enough to be in the middle tier of the conference as well. So that's what I mean. This game against BYU is huge, because you can either be 1-0 going to face Texas and pull off the win against Texas, or you can be 0-2 after playing Texas and BYU. So it can go one of two ways here for Kansas in this week one. Big game.
All right. Gun to your head, Seattle or Texas, who makes the playoffs? This is from
Texas. They have a healthy lineup. It's got to be the Rangers with their healthy lineup.
And you play them 7 times, so one of those teams is going to make it. Who wins the division?
The Astros.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Of course, I thought so a month ago, and they haven't pulled away.
True. That's a good point.
All right. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. We'll see you Monday.
Peace.